Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero podcast, the show where I cover the least in the best way possible. I'm your host, Jason Wells. Today is October 9th. Week 6 is done, and things are honestly a little bit nuts right now. If you would have told me Sam Darnold would have been 5-0, the Commanders are 4-1, wouldn't have even dreamt that. Wildest thoughts, not even a chance. And what might even be crazier, the 7.5 point dogs against the spread. They're 8-1 against the spread this year, 7-2 outright. That's crazy. And we officially have our first coach firing of the year. I'll get into that very, very shortly, but this episode will be the Week 5 recap, the college football highlights. And if you're watching on video, you see I have a bunch of balloons behind me. It was my birthday on Monday. Woo, happy birthday me. I'm officially 27, and I think I'm getting to the point now with birthdays where they don't matter. Like, really. I think probably after my 25th, I was like, birthdays kind of suck. And obviously birthdays don't suck. They're fun. You see all your friends and the people you love, but like, I'm feeling old. I'm not old, I'm feeling old, but, yeah, closer to 30, yeah. Wild that I'm watching guys in the NFL who are much younger than me now, especially the guys in college, when a guy like Ryan Williams is 17, I know I say it every week, but, like, it's crazy, but I have built a very, very happy life. Yeah, so, shout out another year for me. On to 28, I guess. Yeah, let's get into the episode. We will start off with the college football highlights from Week 6. This was the week of upsets. Number 11 USC loses to Minnesota. Number 10 Michigan loses to Washington. Number 9 Mizzou loses to Texas A&M. Number 4 Tennessee loses to Arkansas. And of course, down goes Bama, down goes number 1 as they lose to Vanderbilt. That's just crazy, just SEC historic-wise. Like, Vanderbilt sucks. So shout out to Vanderbilt. They obviously stormed the field. They ripped the field goal posts out of the ground, carried it all the way down Broadway in Nashville, threw it in the river. I love it. I love that stuff in college football. It's just, it's awesome to watch. Upsets are awesome. Best part about college football, in my opinion. Yeah, then we had Ashton Jeanty, the Heisman front runner now, 13 carries, 186 yards, 3 TDs in one half. Did not play the second half. In one half, those were his stats. That man is a monster. True freshman Dylan Stewart out of South Carolina. He's been a stud off the edge. He emptied the clip into Jackson Dart on his sack celebration. And when I say emptied the clip, he emptied the clip. Honestly, wild. Given like all of like the unsportsmanlike finger gun things that are happening in the NFL, but wild celebration from Dylan Stewart there. What else do we have on tap? We had the woke versus Coke matchup late Saturday night. Miami versus Cal. Miami almost joined the list of upsets, came back from 25 down though, so shout out to Miami and Cam Ward. And then finally, a little bit of a shout out to Canadian Curtis Rourke, brother of Nathan Rourke, CFL stud. But Curtis now has 14 TDs in the season. That's good for top 10 in the country. Thought the Canadian deserved a little bit of praise, but those are the Week 6 college football highlights. Okay, yeah, I guess we'll get right into the Week 5 recap here, starting off with the game we watched last night, Monday Night Football. Saints 13, Chiefs 26. The Chiefs continue to do it. The Chiefs are just really good. None of this football matters. We'll talk about the Chiefs when they do matter in 2025, which will be in the playoffs, but Chiefs now 5-0 on the season. They have now won 11 straight games without scoring more than 27 points. That's an NFL record. The next closest team, so surpassing the 1928-29 Green Bay Packers, And since World War II, the longest streak was 8 games and 86 with the Giants and 92 with the 49ers. So the Chiefs just keep winning. And I think it's really as simple as that. Pat Mahomes has not been playing great football, but again, who cares? They keep winning football games. The defense keeps playing well. I will say shout out to Travis Kelce after Rashee Rice does go down, and his knee is cooked. He has an LCL tear. He is out for the rest of the year. Unfortunate. He's going to be missing a lot of time because he's getting a hefty suspension at the start of next season too. But Travis Kelce, people are like, oh, he's washed, he's finished. Nah, he was just resting. He was resting till playoffs. But now with Rashee Rice going out, he kind of needs to step up. And they had a play, and this was definitely a design play. Travis Kelce kind of runs it in, goes towards the middle of the field, catches the ball, keeps going, and he was waiting for Samaje Perine to get lined up, him draw all the defenders over, and he just pitched it right over. Perine goes another, I think almost got the first down. I think it was like a 3rd and 20. Downfield laterals. It's happened a few times now since this new league year has started. It's the future. Downfield laterals continue and should continue to be a thing. I guess we'll see, because no bad plays have happened from it yet, so I guess we'll see if a bad play does happen, but this is something that more teams should try to focus on. I think it is a relatively smart play, but you definitely got to practice it first, but shout out to the downfield lateral, shout out to rugby. And yeah, I guess my last 2 Chiefs notes, Kareem Hunt is back. Juju Smith-Schuster is back. Juju has more yards in one game than any Pats receiver the entire season. That's absolutely insane. Kareem Hunt put up the most yards. Actually, both of them did. Both of them put up their most yards in a game since 2020. Good for them. Good for them finding roles, going back home, I guess, put that in quotes, but I don't know. The Chiefs continue to do Chief things. Does not matter, really. The Saints. It was a nice couple weeks. I'm out on them. I was kind of biding with the, okay, their defense has been playing well, and their defense has been playing well, but Derek Carr is just, he's Derek Carr. He's who I thought he was. He's not a top 20 quarterback. He could not hit the deep ball to save his life. He was getting throwing the ball under pressure, and under pressure wasn't really under pressure, but just throwing it early, making mistakes. He's the Derek Carr who we all thought that Derek Carr was. Now, there are some injuries on this Saints team. Taysom Hill, Eric McCoy, I think their other guard, Lucas Patrick, left the game, so they are a little bit banged up. So maybe if the offensive line gets Cesar Ruiz, is I also think hurt, but maybe if things get back, they get those guys back. Maybe the blocking in the run game gets going a little bit more, but I don't have faith in the Saints, especially after that Thursday night football game with the Falcons and the Bucks. Again, the Saints are going to be the Saints. They're what they've been for the last 5 years, which is a very okay team. And not the last 5 years, but the last 3 years. They've just been a very okay team. They'll be around 500, but no one should be stressed about playing the Saints on your schedule, really. I will say shout out to Colin Saunders, the former Chief. He's weirdly one of my favorite players around the league. And just because in his draft process, he was shown doing the cheerleader spring backflip salts and over and over again. That man is I think he's 6'2", 320. He is a huge man, but he had an interception off Juju's hands right into his. He's in the end zone. He could have taken a knee, but no, he decides to. This is his moment. It's his time to shine, and he ran, I think, back out to the 37. It was a pretty good return. Xavier Worthy dove at his legs, just bounced right off. I love those moments in games, like the big man running. So shout out to Colin Sanders. And yeah, we will go all the way back to Thursday Night Football. Bucks 30, Falcons 36. This game went into overtime. Yeah, Kirk is back. The Falcons look good. This is the Kirk that they wanted when they paid him all that money. Was 42 of 58, 509 yards, 4 passing TDs, 1 interception. Huge games from Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, Ray McLeod, and even Kaderil Hodge. Everyone was getting involved. It was really nice to see from the Falcons, and now I'm trying to remember back. I had baseball while this game was happening, so as I was trying to pay attention, things also, but I think Cameron told me that the Bucs kind of got screwed. They missed a call and would have put them... Either way, you don't blame the refs. Things happen in football games. The refs, yeah, they have a little bit of the outcome, but there's a lot else that happens. But yeah, Falcons get the ball, drive 1, a nice pass to Kaderil Hodge. He does the rest. The Falcons are fun. Now, was this an NFC South Division matchup where I think both of these teams are kind of at the same level? Yeah. It's fun regardless. I think that if this Falcons offense can continue to ascend, their defense is playing really well. Justin Simmons and Jesse Bates are awesome. Matt Judon continues to play well, but he usually trails off in the second half, and he has the last couple years, so we'll see how that production keeps up. But I don't know. The Falcons are fun. I think it's as simple as that. I think my one knock on the Falcons so far, why isn't Bijan running between the tackles? Literally all of his carries last game, outside zone runs. Bijan is really good. And I know that there's people calling him the next Najee Harris and stuff like that, but like his production is good and it's consistently good. But yet he doesn't get these nice touches that Tyler Algier gets for some reason, because at least with Bijan, I don't see Bijan getting tackled for a loss very often. Yeah, or there may be some like 1-2 yard runs, maybe stopped at the line, sure. But usually it's he gets hit early and continues to drive forward. I don't know. I think Bijan's incredible. I think it's just a matter of time until they do start to use him well, but until then, we'll move on. Bucks on the other side, great game from Baker. He continues to run the ball well, throwing the ball to Mike Evans. Mike Evans had 2 TDs in this one. I don't know, like the Bucks, Vita Vea had some sacks, Logan Hall had some sacks, the D played well. I mean, I won't say the D played well, they let up 36 points, but like, again, fun NFC South matchup where usually these are like, oh, it's an NFC South matchup, where at least now it's like, there's some progress. Nice to see. I will say though, stop giving the ball to Rashad White. Rashad White is not good. He might be better in pass protection right now than Bucky Irving, but he had 72 yards on the game, but he had 1 run for 56 yards where, oh my God, was so much space in front of him. So much space. And again, busted off a big run. That was 90% of his yards on the day. I could have got a 20-yard run if the gap was that wide in between the O-line. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just he's uninspiring. He doesn't really give you anything as a runner, as a pass catcher. Like, he's not good. Just move on. Just move on from him, Bucks. Like, it's time. It's Bucky Irving time. And yeah, we will go on to the Sunday game, starting off with the early morning game in London. It was a long-ass day of football. I think this game started at 9:30, and I think that Steelers-Cowboys game ended at like 1 in the morning-ish. It was a long one. Definitely a long one. Start off with the Vikings, though. The Vikings are good. Pretty simple. Wasn't their best game. Sam Darnold had kind of a middling game, but it didn't matter because the rest of the team, the rest of the roster is awesome. I miss Andrew Van Ginkel dearly. I am extremely pissed that we didn't give him a contract offer, and now the way that our edge room is shaping up with Jalen Phillips out again with a year-long injury, Bradley Chubb still not back from his injury, Shaq Barrett, who we signed, retired, Chop's been playing well, I'll get into that soon, but like, Andrew Van Ginkel's so good. He has 2 pick sixes on the season, but he emerged under Brian Flores. He went back with Brian Flores, and it is paying off for him. I wish him nothing but the best. He's such a fun player to watch. But yeah, I don't know. The Vikings are good. We'll see what Aaron Jones' injury, I guess, left with a hip injury. But I don't know. They're good. They've only spent 206 seconds trailing the season, and that was week 1 versus the Giants. Haven't trailed since. Yeah, Vikings are awesome. Jets on the other side. Bad, uninspiring football team. Players aren't getting along with their coaches, and since then, a coach has been fired. And we'll do a little bit of pick and choose here. So, option A, you have the new offensive coordinator who has worked with this quarterback before, whose offenses have put up 93 points in weeks 1 to 5, which is the same as the Jets from last year with Zach Wilson as their quarterback. Or we pick option B, the defensive coach who has consistently put out top 5 defenses, and even with the injuries that side has sustained this year, continues to put out very good defenses. Which guy got fired? You would think the offensive coach, but no, it was Robert Saleh. It was the Jets head coach, their defensive-minded coach. And yeah, as a Dolphins fan, I've always with the Brian Flores thing, he couldn't figure out one side of the ball. Saleh wasn't given a chance to figure out that side of the ball. Obviously, Zach Wilson was the wrong pick that him and Joe Douglas made together, essentially. I won't put all the blame on Joe Douglas there. But Zach Wilson, they immediately tried to move off it. They tried to trade for Aaron Rodgers. He gets hurt last year. Nothing changes. It's just another year of Zach Wilson. Then he gets forced to have Nate Hackett be his offensive coordinator. Didn't want that. And through 5 games, absolutely no change on offense. It's been bad, and that's bad with the upgrades they've made to the offensive line. They've made at the weapons group. And at the cost of the defense, but the defense has been still very, very good. They're one of the better units in the league. But for some reason, Robert Saleh was the scapegoat. And it came out just before I started recording this, but apparently Saleh was looking at firing Hackett. And rumors here, but maybe, just maybe, Aaron Rodgers called up Woody Johnson to be like, no, fire him, keep Hackett. Maybe. I don't know. Rodgers and him just seemingly have not gotten along since he's been there. I don't know why, but my other big conspiracy in this, though, was Woody Johnson was embarrassed about this game in London, because if you didn't know, Woody Johnson was the ambassador for the U.S. in the United Kingdom for 4 years, I believe. So made some friends over there, and all of his friends were coming to the game to watch his football team play the Vikings, and they got embarrassed. And I think that Woody Johnson is just bad of an owner enough to make that decision to be like, nope, that was embarrassing. I'm firing the head coach because he wanted to do something. Now, I think that Saleh should have probably got fired. I didn't think, even if he was there, I don't think this Jets team is a real playoff contender, maybe not even a playoff team in general, but I thought he deserved at least the rest of the season. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, the Jets are a bad franchise, poorly run franchise. Woody Johnson is an idiot. It's as simple as that. The Jets are going to jet. I won't even talk about them in this game. Good for Garrett Wilson. I think he finally had a 100-yard game. He also had like 20-something targets, in which I think it was like the lowest total of, I don't know what it was. It was something like he had like the lowest average yards for someone who's had like 23 targets in a game or something crazy like that. But yeah, continue to move on. They can't run the ball either. Breece Hall, Braylon Allen. Like Nate Hackett can't run a defense. Or can't run an offense. Simple as that. Next game up here into the afternoon slate. Dolphins 15, Patriots 10. We won. We won a game that was not pretty. Did we deserve to really win this game? No, not really. Bad football playing between both of these teams. We missed a field goal attempt because of a piss poor snap. The Patriots kicker missed the easiest kick. I think it was like a 37-yarder. He shanked that one. I don't know. Just lots of bad play across both teams in this one. But at the end of the day, I'm happy. We won. We're 2-3. one game out of the division. We're tied with the Jets right now in the division. It's not complete doom and gloom. And now we're on a bye week. The bye week came at a great time. Get the offense more adjusted to what Tyler Huntley needs to do. Then we play the Colts, and the Colts aren't great. So maybe we have a chance because we play the Colts, and then Tua comes back week 8. Maybe. The Doors, I have a slight bit of hope right now. But I will say, shout out to Mike McDaniel. You stuck with the game plan. The game plan was running the football, and it was behind Raheem Mostert, who made his season debut. And did he play week 1? He might have got injured in week 1. Either way, Mostert, his real debut was today, and then Jalen Wright. He also played great. I think they had like 90 and 80-something yards apiece. Their touchdown drive, they drove right down the field just running the ball. It was nice to see Mike McDaniel stick to that. Yeah. Less of a complicated offense. Now we have a whole week to figure out an offense to go against the Colts and their incredibly bad defense. But I don't know. As a Dolphins fan, I'm happy that we won. And that's the thing. I saw people complaining that we won and were ruining our draft position. Like, it's the start of October. If you're throwing in the towel this early in the season with how out of whack the rest of the league has looked so far this year, you're a fake fan. I don't know. Now, I won't get into it because if it happens again, it happens again, and that's a whole other conversation. But right now, little bit of hope as a Dolphins fan. I will say though, people do need to lay off Chop Robinson. People calling him a bust. People calling him a waste of a pick. Saying we should have picked Graham Barden or Zach Fraser or traded up for Brian Thomas or all of these other things other than Chop. Hindsight's 2020, obviously. Chop doesn't have a sack yet. He's been playing well. I think he had a couple of pressures, couple QB hits in this one. I think his pass rush win rate is around 20-something% right now. He is playing good football. It's just not converting. Now, after a while, does he need to start converting those plays? Of course, but he was not supposed to be in this position this early. At the start of the year, he was supposed to be our third guy with Phillips and Barrett manning the edges, and then end up being our fourth guy once Bradley Chubb comes back. Barrett never even made it to training camp. Phillips now injured. Chop is our number one guy, and I can't wait for Chubb to get back, but Chop's been playing fine. Lay off him. He's 5 weeks into his career. Stop calling him a bust. Absolute insane behavior by fans. The guy is, 21, 22 years old, and 5 games in, he's a bust. Fucking crazy. Ridiculous. Patriots on the other side. If they would have started Drake May, they would have won this one. I think I can say that Jacoby Brissett just is not pushing the ball down the field. And yeah, that offensive line does suck, but he's not overcoming it enough. And now they do decide to start Drake May, and it is going to be against the Texans. That'll be a very tough matchup. I'm very interested to see how it goes. But yeah, I think if Drake May plays in this one, we lose. Shout out to Gonzo, continuing to do what he's doing. And any man coverage snap when Tyreek was on the field, he was matched up against him, and he kept Tyreek in check for most of the game. Gonzo, I think he had an interception in this one too. Gonzo's incredible. I think he might be a top 5 corner in the league already. I still can't believe he fell to the Patriots, but Gonzo is incredible, top 5 corner in the league. And then I guess last play I need to talk about was that end of the game with Jalen Polk. The non-touchdown, and it's not a touchdown. Let's make that very clear right off the start. Is it a stupid rule? Yeah, but that's the rule. And if you're not sure what I'm really talking about, end of the game, Brissett throws the ball to Jalen Polk, back of the end zone. Polk gets both toes in down, but because of the way he was facing, his heel stepped out of bounds, and that's out of bounds. Where if he was facing towards the crowd, toe taps it, and then steps out, that's a catch. But because he's facing towards his offense, his foot, again, it's a really bad rule, but it's the rule. Maybe it'll get changed, I don't know, but his heel stepped out of bounds. I think this happened a couple weeks ago too, where it wasn't like this obviously wasn't a marquee game either, but I think it happened in another game where I'm like, that's a stupid rule. And it is a stupid rule. Did it benefit us? Yeah, it did. But a rule is a rule. That should not have counted as a touchdown. Simple as that. And if you complain about it, you're a loser. I'm talking about you, Chew. We can keep moving on, though. Panthers 10, Bears 36. The DJ Moore revenge game was in full effect. 105 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. He had an absolute terrific day, and it was capped off with Caleb's breakout performance, really. 20 of 29, 304 yards, 2 TDs, added 34 rushing yards on the ground, too. Caleb Williams has played really well. He has all of his weapons out there. Now, will I say they are playing against a very bad Panthers defense? Yeah, of course, but he played well regardless, and this is what you want to see from your number 1 overall pick. He made a lot of nice looking plays, and he was doing the plays where he's scrambling around the pocket and maybe doing a little bit too much. He is a rookie, but you like seeing that progress and development from Caleb. Very fun game. The Bears defense continues to play well. They are a good unit. They're shaping out pretty well. The Bears were control of this one early. They needed to get their offense fully in swing, and they did. Panthers on the other side here. Andy Dalton is back to playing like a 36-year-old. Simple as that. And the Panthers just keep losing guys to injury. First it was Derek Brown, then Shaq Thompson. Now they lose guard Austin Corbett with a bicep injury. He's probably out for the year. I don't know. It's not pretty for the Panthers. I'm hoping Jonathan Brooks comes back relatively soon because the run game still does look good, and the offensive line still is relatively good, but it's not there in general. Bryce Young did come in at the end of this game. Looked okay, looked pretty decent. So I don't know if they're kind of gearing him back to maybe start again in the next couple weeks. I guess we'll see. But kind of weird to put Bryce out there regardless. But, the Panthers suck. I think that's pretty simple. Next game up here, Colts 34, Jags 37. Lawrence has his get-right game. I think the Jags are on like a crazy streak of not losing to the Colts. I don't know what that streak is, but I'm pretty sure they're on a crazy streak. But Lawrence does have his get-right game, 28 of 34, 371 yards, 2 TDs, and an interception. Lawrence played great. He had a few missed throws, and that interception was bad, but he did have a very good game, and this was the game where, again, a lot of teams have. Gus Bradley doesn't change shit on that defense for the Colts. Their defense coordinator, he runs what he runs, and if you know how to exploit it, like Trevor Lawrence does, you can exploit it. Brian Thomas Jr., huge game in this one, 5 catches, 122 yards, and a TD, had a very long TD. Brian Thomas Jr. is incredible. I think teams, they didn't overthink him, but I think because of who was ahead of him in this draft, Marv, Odunze, Neighbors, he was kind of like an afterthought. He probably belonged in that tier 1 of receivers. He is incredible. He's so fast at that size. Sky's the limit for him, and I'm sure that, and again, I saw some Bills fans complaining a little bit that, we should have traded up for Brian Thomas Jr. instead of, Keon Coleman, and sure, whatever, but, again, hindsight's 2020. I think Tank Bigsby is definitely better than Travis Etienne at this point. Travis Bigsby runs hard, breaks tackles, continuing, positive yards. Tank Bigsby's been their best running back this season. I think it's as simple as that. Now, will it shake out that way, for the rest of the year? No, I think it will end up being a pretty split backfield, but this is something that I've been saying that the Jags have been missing. Etienne is a good gadget guy. Get him the ball in space, outside runs, all that jazz. He cannot do the normal running back stuff, though. Tank Bigsby can. So shout out to Tank Bigsby. He had another good game in this one. And finally, shout out to former first overall pick, Trayvon Walker. He had his breakout game in this one. 3 sacks and a forced fumble. He was hearing the noise that it's like, should have picked Hutch over you. He's a bust, blah, blah, blah. Trayvon Walker's a very good player. Like, let's just get that clear. Is he Aiden Hutchinson? No. Aiden Hutchinson is Defensive Player of the Year front runner, one of the best edge players in the league. Trayvon Walker, though, still very good in his own right, and maybe we see this pass rush productivity. He's already a very good run defender. Maybe if he can get after the quarterback a little bit more, his career might take off a little bit, but shout out to Trayvon Walker. Colts on the other side. Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is awesome. 33 of 44, 359 yards, 3 touchdowns. I don't know. He just continues to play good football and can easily play for another couple years as a backup if he really wants to. Yeah, I'm sure that there are teams out there, the Browns, that wish that they would have kept him, wish that he would be their starting quarterback other than a rapist. But I don't know. Shout out to Joe Flacco. He's just had such a weird career arc. First round pick, takes the Ravens to the Super Bowl, has one of the best Super Bowl runs a quarterback could possibly have in NFL history. Pretty good career, and then they draft Lamar. He's on his way out. He goes to the Broncos. He goes to the Jets. It's uninspiring. It's not good football. And he's retired. And then all of a sudden the Browns pick up the phone. He's on the couch, and he's like, yeah, I'll go play football. Why not? And he's just been on this run of games where it's awesome to see. Joe Flacco is a fun quarterback to watch. Now, is Anthony Richardson back this game? Of course he is. And as much as the Joe Flacco story is fun, it is still a 40-year-old Joe Flacco throwing the football. Anthony Richardson is the future, continues to be the future. He should get the start no matter what. I don't care how fun Flacco is. Anthony Richardson is their guy. Simple as that. But one more shout out to Joe Flacco, though. He had a 20-yard run in this one. He looked mobile. He looked good. I mean, he probably hadn't had a run that much in years, and he used up all his energy on that one run, but he's got more 20-plus yard runs on the season than the Dallas Cowboys do. That is embarrassing for the Cowboys. Very embarrassing for the Cowboys. Alec Pierce, 3 catches, 134 yards in this one. His yards per catch must be absolutely insane, because that's basically his stat line, is he'll have 3-4 catches a game and 120 yards. It's all deep bombs. Shout out to Alec Pierce, but this Colts D is fucking terrible. Bad secondary, bad pass rush, especially bad run game support. Gus Bradley is not a good defensive coordinator. He got lucky with being the Seattle defensive coordinator when he was during the Legion of Boom era, and he's just kind of been riding that wave since, but he's just been a middling defensive coordinator for the past decade, basically. Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy that Miami off the bye week gets to play the Colts. I can tell you that. Next game up here, Bills 20, Texans 23. The Texans are now 4-1 with a minus 12-point differential. Go figure. Yeah, this wasn't a very exciting game. Nico Collins left this game early after a big touchdown catch. Put up his numbers for my fantasy team, then left with an injury. That's how you do it. But he left early, and it wasn't great football, really, from either side. Diggs, in his revenge game, did have more yards than all of the Bills receivers combined. That's kind of nuts. But really, it was the end of this game that was a little weird. The Bills, playing for overtime basically at the end of the game, had it backed up into they were on their 5-yard or 5 and goal line, in that area. And Texans have 3 timeouts, and instead of running the ball 3 straight times, burning their timeouts, punting it, and then just hoping they don't have enough time to get in field goal range with the timeouts, or without the timeouts, play for overtime. But no, Sean McDermott decided to pass the ball and pass the ball multiple times, not burning any of their timeouts. And then, the Texans were able to dink, dunk, use those timeouts, get in the field goal range, kick the field goal with Kaimi Fairbairn. And that's that. Also, shout out to Kaimi Fairbairn. I think they said it on Pardon My Take, but he's had the most 50-plus game-winning kicks in the last few years. The new top tier of kickers right now, it's Brandon Aubrey 1, probably Kaimi Fairbairn, Younghoe Koo has been incredible. There's a new wave of kickers here, and it's fun to see. But yeah, it's weird play calling, and I get the play calling. It's we have Josh Allen if we can get that first, but it's the Bills didn't play a good game. Josh Allen might have had the worst game of his career. He was only 9 for 30 in this one, and I'll get the yardage here because I did not write it down for whatever reason. 9 for 30 for 131 yards in this one and a passing touchdown. I think what was it? I think it's the lowest yards for 30-plus attempts in league history. And now it's bringing up the rumors, do the Bills trade for someone? They have a big matchup against the Jets on, I think it's Sunday or Monday Night Football. We'll see. But they got a big matchup, and if they win that one, maybe not. If they lose that one, then it's okay, maybe we got to make an upgrade here. Because when you have Mac Hollins running significant routes for your team and being a focal point of the offense, not great. And I like Mac Hollins. I think Mac Hollins is a great player to have on your team, special teams wise as a wide receiver 4 or 5. But if he's getting significant snaps in your offense might have a little bit of issues here. They really missed Khalil Shakir badly in this one. No one really stepped up. Keon Coleman had a long touchdown catch and run where he just tiptoed along the sidelines, didn't get pushed out. But yeah, not great football from really either side in this one. The Texans just don't have a running game either. They can't run the ball. We'll see if that changes when Joe Mixon gets back, but I like Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's not some great running back still. He had that incredible first week, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Move on to the next one though. Ravens 41, Bengals 38. This game went to overtime. Who says we don't have great QB play anymore in this league? This was a shootout for the ages. Lamar, 26 of 42, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns, 55 rushing yards, and then Burrow, 30 of 39, 392 yards, 5 touchdowns, and an interception. They were dueling. They were dueling back and forth, and this is kind of what I said in my preview show, where the way the Bengals are going to win this game, if they keep scoring a shit ton of points, and even then it didn't matter, because for some reason, the Bengals' defense is just incredible amounts of ass. Couldn't stop Charlie Kohler and Nelson Aguilar and Rashad Bateman. Zay Flowers is a good player. Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, yeah. But, I don't know. The Ravens' passing attack, it's not some dynamic thing, and they threw all over the place. I mean, Lamar was making some incredible plays in the backfield. Towards that end of the game, Sam Hubbard all over him. Lamar stiff arms him, rolls out, finds. I don't know who was in the end zone there, but incredible play from both quarterbacks in this one. I mentioned Charlie Kohler though, but he said that other teams were too focused on Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely to notice the fat white guy running down the seam off his, I think it was a 55-yard touchdown or 55-yard catch. He capped it off with a touchdown later. It was funny. I was watching that game with Cam here, and he started Mark Andrews in one of his leagues, and we see, there's the play, and we see a white tight end running with the ball, and he's like, yeah, let's go, Mark Andrews. Nope, third tight end, Charlie Kohler. Very, very funny. Bengals, though, on the other side, The offense is great. The offense continues to look what it's looked like for the last couple years. Jamar Chase is awesome. T. Higgins is great. Chase Brown, Zach Moss, they have their like ups and downs, but like they're a solid tandem. The offensive line is whatever, but so I talked about the Texans. Texans are 4-1 with like a negative point differential. The Bengals have a better point differential than the Texans, and they're 1-4 right now. That just shows you how crazy the NFL has been so far to start this year. I don't think the Bengals are bad, obviously. 1-4 is a very bad record, but I don't think the Bengals are this bad. They get an easier schedule coming up shortly, so we'll see. But the Bengals, that's the thing. I knew that the offense is fine. The offense is going to be whatever. The Bengals' defense is just completely terrible. They now lose Dax Hill for the rest of the season. That's a big loss. We'll see what happens there. But Bengals' defense is mega ass, all kinds of ass. It's bad. It is very, 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 very bad. Next game up here, Browns 13, Commanders 34. I got to stop doubting the Commanders. Yeah, I got to stop doubting the Commanders. Like, really. It's like, and this was a matchup, I was like, okay, if Watson cannot be terrible, which that's on me, he is terrible, and this defense can play well, because it is a good Browns defense. I still believe in the Browns defense. Maybe they can put Jaden Daniels in some fits, and it's like, Jaden Daniels, from what we saw in the first 4 weeks, this was the worst game he's had in his career so far, and he still played great. 14-25, 238 yards, a passing touchdown, an interception, and then 11 carries for 82 yards. Terry McLaurin was catching the ball deep. Their running game was just going. Eckler, I think like Jeremy McNichols was carrying the ball well. Brian Robinson got 2 touchdowns. Daimi Brown was getting involved. Like, I don't know. And I thought, like, this Commanders defense is ass. Where if this was the game for the Browns to maybe prove everyone a little wrong, put up some points, but no, they cannot. And I don't think I have much more to say on the Commanders other than I will stop doubting the Commanders at least until the end of this month. Then we'll see, because that's when the switch flips on Cliff Kingsbury. Browns on the other side. They have scored less points per game this season than in their 1-15 season in 2016 and their 0-17 season or 0-16 season in 2017. That's how bad this offense has been so far. And I did this last year with Desmond Ridder, and I'm about to do it again, where I have compiled a list of quarterbacks across the NFL, retired guys, even college guys, on who I would pick over Deshaun Watson right now. So let's start off with this list here. Every single starter that started in week 1, including Bryce Young. Yes, I know. All the Browns backups from the offseason. Jameis Winston, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Tyler Huntley. Bunch of backups here. Andy Dalton, Joe Flacco, Carson Wentz, Drake May, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, Jimmy G, Sam Howell, Marcus Mariota, Tyrod Taylor, Malik Willis, Russell Wilson, Josh Dobbs, Jake Browning, Spencer Rattler, Cooper Rush, Trey Lance, Drew Lock, Ryan Tannehill, Aiden O'Connell, and even Zach Wilson. Then I'll go to the retired guys. Give me Tom Brady, give me Teddy Bridgewater, give me Ryan Fitzpatrick, give me Matt Ryan, give me old-ass fat Big Ben, 100%. And then I'll go to the college guys, the guys with no NFL experience who I still believe more than the Nasty Man. Shedeur Sanders, Quinn Ewers, Carson Beck, Cam Ward, Arch Manning, Nico Iamaleava, Pat Mahomes Jr., Dylan Raiola, Jalen Milroe, and Drew Aller. If you weren't keeping track at home, that is 70 guys who I would take over Deshaun Watson right now. And I can argue those 70 guys over Deshaun Watson. Not even counting money stuff, just purely quarterback play, give me those 70 guys. You want to include the offseason stuff, or the off-field stuff, I can probably make that list to 100. The Browns suck, Deshaun Watson sucks, worst trade, worst contract in sports history. The Browns deserve nothing but this. Inept franchise, terrible franchise. Simple as that. And I will move on to the next game. Raiders 18, Broncos 34. Shout out to the Broncos. Big win in this one. I thought that they would get the win in this one, but this was an impressive one, all things considered. Gotta say, shout out to Pat Surtain, one of the best corners in the league, 100-yard pick six. On a terrible throw to Gardner Minshew that would have had Brock Bowers walk in for the touchdown. Right over his head, right to Surtain. 100-yard touchdown. Absolutely awesome to see. And this defense is playing very well. Zach Allen, their defensive tackle, he had a sack in this one, and he's currently leading all defensive tackles in pass rush win rate. Oh my God, pass rush win rate at 26%. That is, trying to remember, I think that's 16% higher than the next guy. Like, he is leagues above the next defensive tackle in terms of that. So shout out to Zach Allen having his breakout year, and then shout out to cornerback Riley Moss. We have been waiting for a white corner in this league for quite some time, and Riley Moss is the first to really emerge. But that's the first interception by a white corner this century. That's a new trivia question out there for anyone. Riley Moss, the first white corner to make an interception this century. Shout out to Riley Moss. And yeah, I'll shout out, or I'll not shout out, but I'll give my props, I'll give my credit to Bo Nix, 19 to 27, 206 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Managed the game beautifully. This is what you expect from Bo Nix. This is Bo Nix at his heights, at his peak of his abilities. I do think that at his best, Bo Nix will play like this throughout his career. I don't know if he's had a good start to his career. First couple weeks, very shaky, but he's definitely teetered off a little bit. But when your leading receiver is your running back, little pause for concern there. But this Broncos defense is playing incredible football from the start of the season. Raiders on the other side. Gardner gets benched. He started the game 10 for 10, then threw that bad interception, threw another couple bad passes, and they're like, nope, that's enough. Aiden O'Connell goes in, and Aiden O'Connell played much worse. Minshew was 12 for 17 for 137 yards, touchdown, 2 interceptions. O'Connell, 10 for 20, 94 yards and interception. Aiden O'Connell's not good. Aiden O'Connell, there shouldn't be he's the young guy. Gardner Minshew's the better quarterback. I do think it's as simple as that. Brock Bowers, thankfully they drafted him. He is an absolute weapon. 8 catches for 97 yards and a TD in this one. Amir Abdullah might be running back 1. The old Nebraska running back. I think Abdullah's been in the league for close to a decade now. He's in his 30s, still playing, but he had the first explosive run I've seen from the Raiders this season. I would like to see him get more touches. He's obviously fresh, hasn't played a lot of meaningful football in the last few years. But shout out to Amir Abdullah. His highlight tape's a lot of fun if you want to go check that out. And yeah, I guess final thing, Max Crosby's just really funny. Bo Nix was trying to make some adjustments at the line and pass protections, and Max Crosby basically screamed at him like he was mic'd up. He's like, "They can't hear you, Bo. Speak loud." He's yeah. I don't know. It was a really funny clip. Max Crosby's a funny guy. Max Crosby's only missed 1 game in his career, came back from injury, had 2 sacks in this one. Yeah, good player. Next game up here, we got an upset. Cardinals 24, Niners 23. Yeah, Kyler played well. 19 of 30, 195 yards, touchdown and interception, then 7 carries for 83 yards and a touchdown. His rushing touchdown, too. He was pointing for the end zone, and he hadn't even cleared the second level of defenders. He just knew he was gone, and he was gone. No one was even close to him. Kyler's a lot of fun. He made some big plays late, scrambling around, throwing it to Marvin Harrison, who got up there for the catch. But, Yeah, shout out to the Cardinals. Like, this is a game that no one really expected them to win. They were a 7.5 point dog for a reason, but they did it. They played well. The defense played like exceptionally well, especially in that second half. Shout out to Ottawa's very own Jesse Luketa for forcing that fumble on Jordan Mason. I think that was Luketa's first game of the year. And yeah, making his impact known. Ottawa kid, Canadian kid, love to see it. I think I probably would have played football or rugby against him at some point before he moved to the States. Either way, shout out Jesse Luketa. And yeah, Niners on the other side here. Bright side, you're the best 2-3 football team in the league. And it really just comes down to not making stupid mistakes late in games. And it is like I'd say the Niners could they could be 4-1, no problem right now on the season, but a few bad turnovers, a few bounces that really haven't gone their way is the difference right now in the season, and I think that will course correct. But another reason why they lost this game is Jake Moody, their kicker, goes down with an injury, and all of a sudden, oh my god, they can't kick anymore. They brought in Mish Wisnowski, their punter, to kick an extra point, and he hit the extra point. But the Niners felt that they were more comfortable on a 4th and 23 at the Cardinals 27 to instead, kick the 43, 44-yard field goal with Wisnowski to go for it. To go for a 4th and 23 in the Cardinals territory where it should have just been an automatic 3 points. And look at that, they lost by 1. And this brings me back to my point about the Giants Week 2 game against the Commanders. Why can't punters kick fucking field goals? And vice versa. Why can't field goal kickers punt the ball? That's all they do. That's all they do is kick a ball for the living professionally. I don't know, 3 hours of practice a week, like learning the other one's craft. Because again, I'm not expecting them to be NFL level kickers. Of course not. But you're telling me that a 44-yard field goal late in the game is not a better option than going for it on 4th and 23. Like, you don't think that your punter can make that kick at least 70% of the time? And 70% is very low. NFL standards, that's garbage. But again, he should be comfortable enough to go in there and try to make that kick. All he does is kick for a living. Is it a different kind of kicking? Sure. But he kicks a ball for a living. You should be confident that if your field goal kicker goes down, that someone else can step up kind of remotely to make those short yardage like kicks. I don't know. It's mind-blowing me. That's twice now where a team would have won if they just had another competent backup kicker on the team. Doesn't seem like a hard ask for me, but Niners lost for a lot of reasons. I'm blaming it on them not having another adequate kicker on the roster, though. Best 2-3 team in the league, though. Next game up, Packers 24, Rams 19. Packers didn't play great, but they won, and that's what matters at the end of the day. Jordan Love threw the worst interception so far of the season. I think it rivals Daniel Jones in week 1. It was kind of both similar things. Both would have been safeties if they would have got sacked, so they threw it away right to the defender, walking for the end zone, pick 6. Not great. Jaden Reed had an incredible catch, incredible throw. Maybe not like the greatest throw considering all 3 defenders around him, but Jaden Reed made the adjustment, made the catch. Great play to set them up in the red zone there. The Packers might have a tight end. Tucker Kraft looked great in this one. I think he had like 86 yards and 2 TDs. So that's big, just another weapon for them to have. Xavier McKinney, that's now 5 games with the Packers with 5 interceptions. He's been playing great, but the other bigger players on this defense, Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, they've been relative no-shows for this start of the year. Rashawn Gary, who I think went like 30 straight games with recording at least 1 pressure, he broke that last week, didn't get another pressure in this one, and apparently his get-off, so when the ball snapped, just his reaction time essentially is a a tenth of a second slower than it's been throughout the rest of his career. And a tenth of a second, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but in terms of reaction time, that's huge. Like, that's a big fall off from where he's been for the rest of his career. So don't really know what's going on there. And then Kenny Clark on the other side too. His pass rush win rate. Oh my God, I can't say that. Pass rush win rate is way down between other years in the league. Don't really know what's going on, but those two are big parts of this defense and big parts of this team moving forward. And they need to pick up their production again. But for right now, doesn't really matter too much. Rams on the other side. Like, Sean McVay and Matt Stafford can continue to be in these games because they are Sean McVay and Matt Stafford, but they just do not have the pieces to make it all work right now. I think they have the bye week this week, and then Cooper Kupp is probably back, and then hopefully Puka Nacua is back week 9, week 8 maybe, and then they maybe go on a bit of a run here, but yeah, they're just frankly not good enough to win these games with their offense currently. Trey White got benched. He was a healthy scratch in this one. Trey White might be washed, and I think that we've kind of known this, but shout out to Trey White. He's had a great career. If this is where it ends, fine with me, but I think he will get back on the field at some point. Needs to get his mind right. Sunday night football game here. Cowboys 20, Steelers 17. I'm missing a game. I did. I skipped over a game completely. Giants 29, Seahawks 20. No Malik Neighbors, no Devin Singletary, no motor. Doesn't matter whatsoever. The Giants, after fumbling on the one, going in for the score, fumbling at the one, then having it get run back for the touchdown. After that, it was just they didn't look back. They were great. That was Eric Gray who fumbled it into the end zone, their backup running back, and then they were like, we're not giving you the ball anymore. We're giving it to Tyrone Tracy, the rookie, and that might be Tracy's backfield now. I don't know. He had 18 carries for 129 yards, 7.2 yards per carry. He played absolutely great. Like, he was the big reason for why this team emerged as they did. Darius Slayton, 8 catches, 102 yards, and a TD. Yeah, and I think I can really boil it down. Brian Daboll is a good coach. At the end of the season, if the Giants are 6-11, 7-10, and Brian Daboll gets fired, teams will be lining up at the doors to get this man as their offensive coordinator, just get him on the staff in general. He's a good coach. The Giants had no business winning this type of game, and yet here they are with no one on offense, seemingly. The defense, obviously, Dexter Lawrence does his thing, 3-sack performance. Sexy Dexy is just, he's so good. He's such a good interior rusher. He is so much fun to watch. But yeah, this offense, I'm shocked that they were able to score this much. But Brian Daboll's awesome. It's as simple as that. And one more shout out to Deonte Banks, their second-year corner. He's having a very good year. Is it like Gonzo having a good year? Like, no, but Deonte Banks is like getting into that conversation of top corners in the league. Not top 10, not top 5, but just top corners in the league. I think Deonte Banks deserves a seat at the table now for that. And yeah, kind of how this game ended. The Seahawks went to go kick a field goal to make it a little closer, and Giants, again, another coaching thing. The Giants found a loophole where you cannot touch the center once he snapped the ball to jump over him, whatever. But you can touch the guard right next to him. So the guard's also low. Dexter Lawrence just basically threw him into the center while Isaiah Simmons jumped over both of them. Shout out to my boy Isaiah Simmons, still playing a good NFL career. But Simmons blocks the kick, shoves over Jason Myers, and then they run it back for a touchdown. Oh, now that I'm thinking of it, what was the final score in that game? So that would have been 20. That was to win the game. I didn't realize that. Yeah. Blocked kick, run back for a touchdown to basically ice the game for Seattle. Heads up play by the coaching staff and by Isaiah Simmons. I don't know. The Giants are just really well coached. I think it's as simple as that. Brian Daboll is awesome. I won't have anyone tell me otherwise that Brian Daboll is not a good coach. Brian Daboll's a good coach. And finally here, Cowboys 20, Steelers 17. The Sunday night football game that didn't start until almost 10 o'clock because of rain delays. It got here, though, and it was an absolute snooze fest. The Steelers continue to play like the Steelers, which is play really good defense with very bad offense. And the Cowboys continue to play the most uninspiring brand of football with CeeDee Lamb still getting backfield carries and Rico Dowdle, who I guess he's the running back one, who also just looks like very okay. I don't know. This is just... It was a boring game. It was such a boring game, and you would think that in a game where Dak had 2 interceptions and a fumble, that the Steelers would come away with a win in this one, but no, they're equally bad because Najee Harris stinks. Najee Harris cannot run the ball effectively. They need to give Jalen Warren more touches. I know that he's been injured and out, but they need to give Jalen Warren the ball again. George Pickens was on the field less than Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin. That cannot happen. I don't care if Pickens is a bit of like a nut, bit of a head case. He is your best offensive player. Put him on the field. Don't put Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin on the field instead of George Pickens. George Pickens is a dog. Get him the ball. He wants the ball. He literally had on his eye black always fucking open. And he is most of the time. Yeah, I'm hoping that when Jalen Warren comes back, because they need a run game. I think that that's their big issue right now. The passing attack wasn't going to be good anyways, but at least if you have a rushing element with Justin Fields, like dynamic rushing ability, like it pairs well, and then the offense gets moving a little bit more, but right now they just flat out can't move the ball, whatever. TJ Watt continues to be awesome. Yeah, these are just 2 not very good teams. Again, the Steelers are doing what I thought that they would be, and this is still probably going to be an above 500 and 9-win team at the end of the year. And the Cowboys also continue to be what I thought they would be. It was just an uninspiring, very okay, middle-of-the-pack football team who gave up at the end of last year, and Jerry Jones is just waiting to quietly fire everyone. Yeah, that's the Week 5 recap, though. I think that was pretty good. I think that was a good episode. Lots to talk about. I'm sure Biss is going to be pissed about the 70 quarterbacks I think that are better than Deshaun, but I don't think it's that crazy of a list. I really don't think it's that crazy of a list. I think it could be higher, but yeah, I don't know. What else do I have to talk about? Going out for a lovely dinner tonight for my birthday. Yeah, I think that's it. So Friday's episode, NFL Weekly Update, bit of an injury roundup, and then we'll get into the Week 6 preview. Yeah, that'll do it. If you have liked this, please like, share, retweet, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and until next time, peace.